Welcome back. Now that I've talked 4 minutes and didn't hit the record button about my intro, welcome. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything to you, but I'm really upset about it because I just talked to nothing to myself for 4 minutes. At least when I recorded, like somebody might hear it. But yeah, so here we are. We're playing Dimir Bounce. We are prioritizing playing Dimir, especially in best of one. As I think Esper, honestly, a lot of times the problem with Esper is without the triumphs that we used to have, I think the mana becomes very strenuous, and it is very complicated to kind of ensure that, yeah, we can play a Pixie or a Shelter by Ghost, but the white is typically the smaller kind of color in your deck. So for better mana, I prefer to play blue-black and try to prioritize playing it in terms of a super kind of efficient machine that we can try to create. The big change we're doing now, if you kind of already have watched me play Dimir in the past, is we're going to try the Thundertrap Trainer over the Entity Tracker. Tracker is a card that I've been a big fan of overall, but the Trainer has very high upside in the deck in terms of what it can grab. It can grab the Stormchaser's talent, which we obviously know is good. If you've been playing standards, you know what this card does. Hopeless Nightmare, unfortunately, you probably know what this card does. Tinybones Joins Up is another kind of version of the Hopeless Nightmare. It does deal damage whenever a legendary creature enters, but that's not really going to come up too often. But outside of that, we have the Fear of Isolation. I believe it cannot grab. It's a non-creature, right? You may reveal non-creature. So it cannot grab this, even though it is an enchantment. But we can also grab Get Out. We can grab Nowhere to Run. We can grab this Infection, which has done wonders for me in the past. We can grab Kaito because it's a Planeswalker, this card, and this card. This town ain't big enough, in a Bottomless pool. So there's a lot of grabs for it. We're going to see if it's worth playing this over the tracker. The big kind of red flags, as you would with the card, is the fact that we do have to play it at sorcery speed. It is kind of the downside where it is one cheaper than Entity Tracker, but it is also more expensive in terms of taking our mana on our turn instead of us using the mana on our opponent's turn. So a lot of conflictions might happen over these games where we want to play a Hopeless Nightmare or we want to hold up a Nowhere to Run, but we have a Trainer in hand. It's like, well, do we get the value? Do we not get the value? And so on and so forth. So with that said, we're just going to dive right into the games, do a short intro today, and just let's go see how the deck functions. Playing trainers over the trackers and a couple of other changes, like playing one of Tinybones Joins Up. So if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing. Outside of that, let's go game. Okay, here we are. We are ready to lock it in. We are ready to play. We have Stormchasers. We got a Flash Creature. We got the Thundertrap Trainer. We're fully ready to go. Verge is a little weird because it does lead off on an island, so I guess it's not that weird. It's just like not turned on. So like if we do draw a black source, want to play something, but it doesn't really matter too much. I guess more or less sometimes it matters. Here it doesn't. Now this does counter a creature spell, so we'll just hold it. They show a Scroll Land. I mean, that screams creature all day. Could obviously go for the Trainer. Don't have a bounce source, so playing this into a bounce source would be nice. Well, you know, sometimes you get got, you know what I mean? And that would be a way to get got. Do a Trainer. We'll tap this down for now. It can't block anyway, but I'd rather put pressure on the board. Not Trainer, the Floodpits Drowner, I guess. I could have done Kaito, but I still think holding this up for a creature spell makes the most sense. Or just Nowhere to Running the bestie. Ooh, arguably one of the better cards in the deck. As you can tell by what they let off on. They can play like Fear of Missing Out and stuff like that. Now, Fear of Missing Out, I can just counter here, get value off this counter spell. I think that's most important. I think if I let too much happen, we'll find ourselves in trouble. And then this turn, I think I go for Kaito, try to hit a land, play Hopeless Nightmare. Sure, Bestie might be turned on, but like how down and out are we with that? Go to blocks, nothing happens. Kaito comes in. Creature's already left the battlefield, so nothing really can happen here. We can obviously go for a stun down on Bestie. Oh, okay.
Your tech is way that you didn't expect to see me.
That goes up. Interesting choice here. Let's just put an emblem on this.
I've trained with
Go
the best.
up. So now it's at 5. They would have to have another way to give it haste, which that card would do well to give it double strike. But if it's just to answer the Kaito, maybe we overextended and messed up here. Definitely possible. Second Snakeskin Veil most likely. A double attack, okay. Have an X3. I don't really have a whole lot of removal. Let's go for stop when they're upkeep, I guess. Yeah, there's the pause. So that screams Snakeskin Veil number 2. Go. Where to run here? Obviously, we're going to target the creature. This, obviously, the Snakeskin Veil like doesn't work, but does work, right? Because like this dodges hexproof, and now hexproof won't work. So now I can stun down the bestie when we get to their turn here, because that's how Nowhere to Run works, and that's why I love the card so much. Breakout. Okay. The third copy. And what? Top 4. Well, it's a little bit deeper than that, right? Because it shuffles them back through. Go. I will Floodpits Drowner, and I will tap the bestie here. Again, the hexproof doesn't work. Sure. We'll still get tapped. Why doesn't the hexproof work? Because of our Nowhere to Run. So they use Snakeskin Veil, that just gets shuffled away. Let us take a look here at what we can find. Honestly, at least we put all the lands on the bottom. You know what I mean? Here. There. Shuffle that away. We'll just sit here for a bit. Now, a card we do have to be worried about is this one. There are 4 more cards getting double strike till end of turn. So I will just throw this. No, I guess. Take the 4. They haven't played one yet, so we're just going to hope they don't have one. Now, this can definitely put some mana down. A little bit tough. I mean, that's a pretty good draw overall. So let's isolate the last card in our hand. Card done. Here, pass. Nowhere to Run picked up. Combat attack. Obviously, if they block, this is just a massive mistake. No blocks. Okay. Not let them grow it in response, though. That'd be the main issue, is they definitely get to go in this turn by growing this in response. It becomes 7. We have 7 for a lot of damage, man. They definitely have the sources to do it. Doesn't really matter when they both will have trample, so as long as we absorb everything. But that's 7, that's 10. Well, that's 11. Plus our blocks kind of isolate things. They just go for cards in our graveyard. Now they just got to hit a Fear Missing Out, which is both a creature and an enchantment. Simple choice. Or that. I mean, that does it too, right? Down to 6. Okay. Here's 5. Target you. You can have Delirium back on. Draw a card, and that's going to be 5 damage, and we get through. Sneaky land, sneaky land. They got through there. Maybe they were just hoping we didn't block. Maybe they weren't going to try to play around that, and I definitely get that. So, what to do here? It's an interesting choice. Let's play this down first. Just because if we do have to know where to run a creature, like if it's mono red, for example, be pretty happy about that. Tinybones Joins Up and stuff can always join the fight later. Let's know where to run. Isolates it down. Really need a land draw here. And then if not, we'll go for Storm Talent and then Tinybones. If not, we can also know where to run that. That was more or less like if they were to have hit like a 1-drop creature and have prowess or something like that, we'd have to be a little bit more careful. But we know where to run this again. Don't want to give them the chance to like monstrous rage it response to save it for the turn, or like turn inside out, grow it so they get more value, you know. Why we can just get rid of stuff, we should. Here comes a Swiss Spear. There's going to be no block here. They might shoot this out of the way, which is a blessing in disguise. We could have prevented 2 by blocking, or they can Burst Lightning that, and then we don't prevent anything, which is okay. Down to 4 cards from them. Let's do Fear here. Let's pick this up, and then let's set in a Tinybones, target their hand. Now we got like an okay creature here that they might invest a Lightning Strike into. They already Burst Lightning a 1/1, or even like a Witch Stalker Frenzy, for example. But they've already invested a Burst Lightning into a 1/1. Who's not to say they wouldn't do it for that? I definitely think they should have just attacked, see if I block, and then let the damage happen. I think the 2 damage is just not worth using the Burst Lightning over. Opponent first. I think we can accept this hand for sure. Few ways to pick this trainer back up, whether it's here or there. This implies that it's aggro, so we must be prepared. So let's play our Siren. Siren's great in this deck, is just like a small 2-of as we've been playing, just because it gives you a couple of things to target with this town. A big enough, can maybe chump block, bounce this, target a thing, help us maybe find a land. There's a lot of things it's good for. I will just allow that to strike, I think, maybe. Dagger is definitely much better on the horizon that we have to be careful of. Here's our Mirrex. We'll play our Swamp. Now this counterspell is not available, but we definitely can hold here. Kind of see what's up. With Boros, there could be like a Shelter by Ghost, maybe protection spells, or nowhere to run. They're definitely going to be very valuable. Love the basic Plains choice, though. The dog. Big dog fan. Alright, there comes Swiss Spear. No more red mana, though. Looking to probably bounce the Challenger. Try this. They might give it protection, but at least we get to replay our Siren if that's what we want. Only bouncing it, but they are limited on red. Like, they won't be able to play it again. Oh, they prioritize the other creature, which draws them a card, but it still doesn't hit me. Interesting, I guess, is the word I'll use. Blue. Hero armor, monstrous rage. Siren. Guess I'll pass here. Just a weird play. I don't know. For a scavenger here, okay. Floodpits. Nowhere to run, obviously, is going to be the best draw that we can have in a spot like this. We lock that down, though. We got okay. I don't feel great about any of this. Counter here, maybe. Oh, another tap land. Now it's the choice between tucking and not tucking. This is kind of where I'm at. Back. So I tucked the Swiss Spear. Well, it's stunned for another turn, so maybe not. Yeah, I think I go for a Trainer here. Okay, we found the nowhere to run, thankfully. Means I can kind of isolate some things on the board. Shelter by Ghost, sure. Yes. But that does have a prowess trigger on it, so we do get to kind of dodge it maybe next turn. Who knows? They have to kind of use a shelter. Oh, well, that's a counter now. I don't know. Are they going to invest it? Ethereal armor? Sure, why not? That thing's huge. Alright, sure. Block. Falls back on the old plan of... It's not necessarily that we have to win this game. We just have to bore them to death. Giving myself 1 mana doesn't really do a ton, right? So if I play this, like, what does that offer me? Not too much. I can go for nowhere to run, target the flyer, so I can kind of issue stuff against that. And then I can play Fear, which can help block against flying. Do I pick up the Drowner? I guess so. Yeah, so let's attack with Drowner here. I doubt they block. They could. Honestly, it's probably a better plan if they did, but they didn't. So I need more mana. I want to activate this map token. Maybe I'll find an untap source. I guess I don't want to do it. I want to do it on this Fear. It's a weird game. Here, pick this up. Then we go for this. This. And we just kind of have to hope. The reason we picked this Drowner back up is so we can tap the Challenger and then tuck it away. I guess. Oh, second Shelter by Ghost, of course. Why not? Do they actually take the creature? I actually think taking the creature is like kind of worse. Just because of the fact that if they get rid of the nowhere to run, I can't really target their creature. Or does it matter? Hey, you got it, buddy. That makes way more sense. You have to maul as good as that hand is. We'll keep this, and I guess because our whole hand's castable off 2 mana, we'll just go down the mana source. Play a land. We'll pass it up. Find a Siren. No creature in play now. Not guaranteed to play one next turn. So do I have Trainer or do I have Siren? I think it's Siren and Stormchasers here. See what's up. A little token. We get a little Dode. Challenger, sure. Not afraid to double block. You mulliganed and so did I. Now we can just play this turn. Play this game. Prowess 1/1. Guess we just counter. Cool, and we hit the land, so now we pass. As long as we drive them out of creatures, hit our land drops along the way, we're pretty well set up for anything. Where to run? There. Now negative power and toughness, which is cool. Another land, very cool. Play a Thundertrap Trainer here. What we find? Maybe this town ain't big enough. Oh boy. Like that a lot. The best thing here is we don't have to worry about the fact that they could give this protection because of our nowhere to run. A thing that gets, like, honestly forgotten about quite a lot. Because, like, you just kind of can, like, respond to do it. And I don't even know if Arena necessarily gives you a sign. I know, like, the nowhere to run lights up. But, yeah, I mean, if there's a time to do this, honestly, I'm just going to do this. White's down. No land played. Or not no land played. No white left open, so no protection to be had. No draw to be done. And then we just pass again. That's part about the trainer here is just constantly being able to pick it up in a spot like that. And now this is where this card becomes the best, because if they just play one creature, I can enchant one and remove the other. Honestly, they should probably offspring this. Hope to run me out of cards. Definitely possible, of course. That's what they go for, but we know we have this covered, so we'll know where to run here now. Right there. No stop at all, so it auto kind of went through. Target itself. Another land to be had. Actually, the land drop. Actually, just level this up, right? Grab it. This town ain't big enough, and then we can play this land, and then we can toss the 1/1 into the void. We'll do everything we can to bait this out. Now this town ain't big enough. If we draw one more land, we kind of have an infinite cycle with the Stormchaser's talent, because we can play a talent and then we can level it up and grab this back from our graveyard and keep kind of doing that cycle as long as they do one creature kind of intervals. We'll definitely block here. It's like if they want to just trade this, I will. They elected not to. Sure. The longer I can just sit here, wait, and hold, the better I think I am. Activate here. Maybe we'll hit the land. Dude, it's a Mirrex too. A really good land to hit here. We'll make tokens for free every end step and then close out the game that way if we have to. There's a scavenger, sure. Again, bouncing the tokens best. We also found the land to do the cycle, which I can show you if our opponent doesn't concede kind of process of presenting said cycle. They counter that creature, but I can also get out, pick up both these nowhere to runs. Guess so. Get token. Step. And yeah, with that, I mean, you have two creatures. I have two removal spells. It's just not going to be good. All right, blue-white auras. Town ain't big enough is good, but they might have protection. Who knows? At least we can use the token to get rid of it. A nowhere to run is everything we would ever ask for in a matchup like this. All right, enchantment, counter. Maybe have protection. Okay, it's the Esper Flicker deck. I don't know why I thought the protection was viable there. No, because we're probably going to have to bounce it, right? We do find a loose blue here. So I guess it should just be like this. This. In case they do play a protection spell, best of one's a wild place. I know the best of three deck doesn't really play it a ton because you just can't fit it in because you have so much other value, but I feel like here we're just better off doing that, calling it a day. Nowhere to run, probably what's held up here. Here. Pass. Cast. Token map. Fear. One of the best parts about Fear is in a spot like this, we can just get rid of kind of a map token that can either be a counter or like something maybe a little useless. I do feel like we're going to lose this match. Them being on the player, hand being a little bit awkward. Neither of us really establishing a nowhere to run, which is interesting. So that is not a nowhere to run, a hopeless nightmare. So that's a little bit what's kind of like okay here. But the first player to kind of play one of those and start cycling through it is probably going to end up falling through. Force you to play something. Or get the free trade, maybe. That was not like a free trade, but it's like a trade enough, right? What to do. Well, do this. And now we can just counter whatever they cast with the get out. Turn. Move that. Now the counter's off the scavenger. There's no spell for this. They allowed to trade last turn. Interesting. Another land. If they attack or not will tell us a lot. Or they have the third copy of Nowhere to Run. Okay. Fair enough, I suppose. Oh. Speaking of fair enough, barrel this. It hits the last card. All right. Here's this card.
Don't worry.
Done that down for a while, I guess.
Take a break, will ya?
This is a dead card from them, or even something maybe like a little good. For example, like a Hopeless Nightmare that's like good but not the best of all time. We can find a lot of kind of value there. Nowhere to Run's kind of counter the fact that Kaito has hexproof. That's why Kaito's kind of like an okay card here. Not the best card of all time, but also not like the worst, because it is a 3/4. We are able to do damage, then we're pretty good. Combat. As you can see, the hexproof is kind of off because the creatures cannot get hexproof. We surveil 2, and then we draw a card.
Secrets didn't stay hidden for long.
I mean, let us do it like this. Land. Let's not let them get any further. Pop that. No land to be had by them, by the way. So, if they play a land here and upgrade this Stormchaser's talent, that's pretty good. It's gonna be a pretty tough, like, thing to try to beat overall. But they do have to hit a land. I don't know what they kind of have at sorcery speed here. They haven't interacted at all. But now they have no hexproof reward. I have no hexproof reward. We're both just kind of gaming. Having a mid to average time. A little Mirrex token though. Which is pretty cool. Plus. I'm gonna Thundertrap Trainer twice, so I don't really care about the surveilling, I guess. I don't know what they have. Maybe they have Counterspell as well. Offspring. Maybe they have Get Out. Could definitely be the card they have, and it's playing right into it, but apparently not. Oh, you gotta be joking. I'm gonna look at the top 8 and grab nothing. Now we grab something. Stormchaser's good. What do I have in my graveyard? Honestly, weirdly enough, I think it's the Stormchaser's talent. Which then I'm most likely discarding because I didn't get to grab 2 things. But nice. Leveling this up now means kind of nothing, but they have to put blockers in the way. I think that's the problem for them. And one of the reasons I plus Kaito was in case they did have a nowhere to run. Temporary lockdown is the choice. Okay. That's an option for our Magic the Gathering deck. What? I'm actually kind of mind blown. If I just stun this thing down and just attack them? I think so.
Sit down. Rethink.
You know what I mean? It's just like this weird part of the game where it's like, honestly, I'm okay with just letting Kaito game, I suppose. There's no more nowhere to runs anywhere, so it's not like the hexproof's not there. This only needs 1 damage, but this can't do it. You can level that up and grab back this town, but they need a land drop. And then again, like, because the nowhere to run wasn't played, like, it's not like my hexproof will still be there. I understand, like, there's a chance that they kill Kaito in response. But now I get to do this. I will play a land. I will plus Kaito here. And now I have a counter spell for this enchantment.
Never underestimate
There's a combat. Swing. The tracker. Okay, we allow Tracker to resolve. There's a reason for that. Because I assume Nowhere to Run's coming. Correct. So now we counter Nowhere to Run. They don't get a card draw. And now they have to block my Kaito with the Tracker. So we stop a card draw. And we stop everything else that's going on. And then I just wait and make another Mirrex token. Because I'd much rather upgrade next turn. Because say they answer the board somehow, right? But somehow Stormchaser Town's there. Or my Mirrex token comes in on instep, right? But if somehow they like Shield Strategic, pop this, they put enough stuff down, I can't hit them for lethal. I can then upgrade this. Grab that this town ain't big enough. Bounce one of my permanents in this temporary lockdown. Which will give me my Tamer back. One Nowhere to Run and my Hopeless Nightmare. Because this is mine. So then it'll deal the extra little damage I need. So even that temporary lockdown was only temporary. But we win the game. We'll move on. Probably going to play our tap land first. And they have a full grip. Hopeless Nightmare does feel like slightly worse if you're not going to be able to kind of like wombo combo them. But with a Hedge Maze, we're definitely going to hold up the Get Out and counter their Beanstalk. Hello. Arena? Hello? Your game's broken, brother. But we'll hold this up for a Beanstalk. I literally put this at the beginning of my other like video where I was playing Get Out. Tell me Arena doesn't just repeat itself. It's just like history. Obviously, I'm okay with that. Comparatively, like, I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with Up the Beanstalk resolving, ever. I just like the card that we cannot let resolve. Can't really stop that. Another land's actually huge. Here comes this. Then we'll play the Siren, and then we'll obviously hold up to Get Out. We're kind of going to hold up to Get Out for, I don't know, the entire game, I guess. There's just no reason really not to. Until we kind of have to not to, right? We just want to hit land drops with kind of our hand here. We have a Kaito, which we want to be able to attack with. We do play this town ain't big enough, but it doesn't really, like, ever affect us. Like, it does a little bit, but also doesn't at the same time. Ash would be a good card. I'm good. Feel like I'm kind of in the lead here. Especially with the map activation. Town ain't big enough is pretty huge. Ah. Sure. Pretty good. Could just barrel here and go for it, but I don't think that's the move either. It's fine. Huh. It's a good gain life. Again, just kind of playing around the Beanstalk. Don't really have to do much else. I'm even willing to take this 3 damage here. And then this town at the end of the turn, pick up my Hopeless Nightmare. Tolarian Terror. Okay. I'm also down to counter a Tolarian Terror. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. That card's pretty good. Play another land. Well, we get the last card, so they're not ever going to really have a response to that. Here to here. We will find a land. We do. Very cool. Now we isolate the last card. Now they can obviously pick something back up with the Stormchaser's talent, which is definitely tough. Another Tolarian Terror goes. Now, is this this town ain't big enough angle, or is this a fear angle? And I'm not entirely sure. I think it's a this town angle. You know, Vertical, horizontal. No way. I finally lose it and they draw a beanstalk immediately. That's so annoying. All right, show me the Slayer and Terror number 3. Sure. Oh, yeah. Just run it down, dude. Just run it down. Be the luckiest person alive. Yep. Hopeless Nightmare not doing as much if I do this. Alright, dude. Don't you ever do that to me again, please. Not a fan of that. Here and here. Okay. I do feel like we're about to just get outvalued by 1 billion. I mean, they're at 20 life still. That card maybe, Smile? I guess they can always pick up a card, right? Get Bushwhack. Feel great. What is the play? I don't feel like it's Seed of Hope, but much it is just grab like a this town or something, or a land. No, just a pass here. Okay, very cool. Land. Combat. Blue. Here.
Slim
That's
chances
up.
just make victory that much sweeter.
I have Hopeless Nightmare twice. Alright, neither of those are needed.
Got you beat 6 different ways.
Okay, apparently Arena thought otherwise. Hopeless Nightmare number 1. Then Hopeless Nightmare number 2. Bushwhack is gone. Hopeless Nightmare number 2. Both gone. Now it's Light of Hand. Okay. Let's see, we're kind of looking at a double block here. I don't know if either card was bad or good. Like, the crab is most likely to come up at some point. They can crab and kill Kaito, which is like maybe arguably why we should have plus, but I think getting 3 lands out of the way was huge. I don't think there was much more to it than that. This town is down. No attack. Okay. Because of that, can we kill them here? Are they too passive on that? So we stun down 1. We know where to run. And then we bring up our land and attack. Alright. I'm down with that. Remove. Remove. I'm up. It's not lethal, but it's a pretty good chunk of their life total. Alright, it's off. Main reason I fired it off was because I was thinking that they're bound to start drawing some of their kind of creature cards here. So I wanted to make sure that I could kind of get stuff out of the way. But now they're at 3, which is pretty vulnerable overall. This town ain't big enough is obviously good, but this has hexproof if we get to our turn. This is stunned, so this town isn't going to work. They would have to do it now, which they do. But I have a flyer that's unblockable currently. So they'll need any crab. They need a lot here. They have beanstalk, so crab is not possible because they also played a land. So this should be GG's. Land. I'll just let them know that it's super GG's and I'll bounce that. I don't know what they could have for 1 mana that might be able to like buy them time. Maybe into the Flood Maw. I don't know exactly how that's worded. But we'll bounce this. We'll bring up that land. We'll attack. They might be able to block land, bounce that, but then they still take 3. I don't know. We end up coming away with that game, even though I did feel once they drew that beanstalk, we were dead, but I think this game's entirely, how many cards? They were halfway through their deck. There's 1 terror, 2, 3 terrors. They found 3 of the 8. There was 5 left and 30 cards. I mean, that's actually, like, obviously the odds aren't fantastic there, but like, it's not like a true 50-50 split on 30, but it's reasonable. But not to find 1 crab sucks, because they could have tapped 2 things, killed Kaito, and gone about their way. But okay, so here we are. We're gonna talk about the list. I personally, after playing it, think Entity Tracker is significantly better than this card. I understand this card can dig and everything like that, but the sorcery factor of this deck, like playing this at sorcery speed, feels so much worse than like on my opponent's end step when they've tapped out to be able to flash in my tracker and do all these loops with the tracker instead. I now, don't get me wrong, Thundertrap Trainer felt great. Like, it does feel really good. I just personally like the tracker more. And there's been a couple of times where like this even missed, right? Like, it's still possible that this misses, right? But whenever you're playing an enchantment, your entity tracker never misses. You automatically draw the card. Like, there's not like a miss factor to it. And honestly, it's what I felt like I missed the most. I would rather play 3 trackers and then almost like, I understand the Spyglass Siren's pretty good. I would almost rather run 2 trainers in this spot and run the Thundertraps as entity trackers instead and kind of have it go that way is what I think I would like more. Because it's very hard for an opponent to keep up if you're like, flash in a tracker, I will play a Fear of Isolation, I'll pick up a Nightmare, I'll play a Nightmare, draw 2, right? Because now you're guaranteed 2. So if you need to hit a land drop and you draw a land, great, you hit a land drop, now you have 1 extra card. For Trainer, like, the main thing this provides is like, you may get to put a card in your hand and your opponent now also knows what that card is, so they can play around it for the rest of the game. But the other thing is, if this misses, this is a 2-mana 1/2, and Trample was just so relevant and best of 1 that this feels tough. Obviously, a 2/3 on the Trainer isn't really much better, but like, we still flash that in on the end step. We held up a counter spell the entire time through, or we held up a Floodpits Drowner. Maybe we don't flash in the tracker or whatever, but like, we still are able to hold things up. Nowhere runs, for example, or things like that. But then having the tracker allows us to be like, okay, well, we played a tap land turn 1. We'll play an untap land turn 2. We'll hold up to get out. We counter a thing, play an untap land on turn 3, kind of pass through the turn, holding up some removal. We have a Hopeless Nightmare in hand, but we don't really care to play it because we much rather like play the tracker and then play the Nightmare. And then when you get to cast 1 mana, you discard a card, I draw a card, and you lose 2 life. Yeah, it's pretty absurd, right? So when all that kind of comes together with the tracker, I guess I could pull it up. If you're not sure. I'm gonna do it the easy way. Right here. Because I'm stupid and I can't spell entity apparently. But flash, whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, we draw a card. So it's just able to give us more and more cards. And Shielded right now isn't a super relevant card that we have to be super careful of. So this is typically always going to be good, and we're just fine with that, right? So like I said, I mean, that's going to do it for me. I'm definitely on trackers, I think, in the future, and I'm cutting the trainer at least. Now, will it be this exact list? I'm playing this over that? Maybe. But because this did feel okay. This felt good whenever you needed to bounce something that you wanted to get a little bit of value of. It's just like, the more 1-drops you play, the worse your top decks are, especially when you don't have anything to get necessarily the value, for example. And it's the main reason I'm stressing to play this card over it. Because whenever it comes to drawing, like if one of these are online and I draw a Hopeless Nightmare or like a Stormchaser's Talent, I still get to replace it, right? But like if I have a Thundertrap Trainer that drew maybe, I don't know, let's say a Nowhere to Run, well, it's done all it's going to do unless I pick it back up. So, well, I said that's going to do it for me, and I hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.